Welcome back to another video. In this video, I have Ryan on the call again. I think we're going to maybe making this an awesome series for you guys. But in this video, we're not going to talk about email. We're actually going to switch a little bit and talk about LinkedIn messaging that you could be doing wrong for candidates. But before we get into it, Ryan, what are your overall thoughts about LinkedIn messaging? Do you think it's a great tool? Do you think people should do it? Do you think people shouldn't do it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think great tool is an understatement. This is my go-to. LinkedIn is the place I spend most of my time as a recruiter. And so I'm glad we're getting to chat about reaching out to candidates on LinkedIn because that's a big portion of my day. And I think a lot of ways where you can go right and go wrong with this. So being that it is so impactful, I'm really excited to talk about it today.
Same. And if you guys want us to make another video about LinkedIn messaging for clients, please give us a like, comment down below. Ryan and I can work hard and create another video for you guys, but I hope that this gives you value. But similar to our previous video, we're going to share with you a couple different examples of messages that we think are lacking in certain specific areas. We're also going to give you a chance to kind of analyze it yourself and come up with your own conclusions before we share with you our own thoughts. And then we're going to kind of tie it all together with what we think the perfect message should include. We're not going to include an actual perfect message only because I know a lot of people who are watching this, you're from different markets, different industries. And so you don't want to just copy and paste the same thing everywhere. You want to be able to kind of learn what we think is the perfect recipe and modify that and personalize that into your own business, your own market, and hope that it delivers for you to kind of get those top talent to get excited. You ready, Ryan?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. So, message number one. Let's go through this. Subject line: amazing opportunity at ABC Corp. Let's chat. Okay, that's not that bad. But it says, hi, first name. I hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out because I noticed your profile and I think you might be a great fit for a role that we have at ABC Corp. We're looking for someone with strong experience in technology and leadership. Your background stands out, and I think you'd be a great fit for a senior level position. If you're open to hearing more about this exciting opportunity, please let me know when you're available for a quick chat. Best regards, name, title, ABC Corp. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
A lot of thoughts on this one. Firstly, is the lack of any kind of personalization. So we do mention, hey, your background stands out, but we don't say why that is. There's nothing specific to say, to know that, okay, Preston took the time to reach out to me specifically because of XYZ factor in my background. He just thinks I'm a broad good fit. The second thing that comes to mind for me with this message is it sounds like it's all me. I think it's a great opportunity and you'd be a good fit.
Are you struggling with getting responses from clients? Are you an established recruiter who is struggling to break six figures and beyond? Are you looking to start recruiting part-time and you don't know how? Do you feel burned out and stuck spending hours and hours each day in manual tasks like sourcing and outreaching and feeling like you have no time to actually run and grow your business? I am absolutely happy to announce that we have launched our own recruitment, educational, and coaching program to help you on your journey. We made sure that everything I've learned in the past 10 years, the tips, the strategies that really helped me build multiple seven figures of placements on my own desk with some of the best companies in the world will be included in there. We'll also be including things like how you can build an acquisition system that brings in clients every month to your agency hands-free, how you can maximize the probability of a positive close during negotiations, how you can automate and outsource your day-to-day operations so that you don't have to spend hours per day researching or sourcing, how you can figure out the new and modern way to scale your agency that minimizes risk and maximize your upside potential. And we've also included much more. The best thing about this is not only will you be getting amazing content, but we will also handhold you and be with you every step of the way to make sure that you are held accountable and you crush your goals. We'll also share with you our own tech stack, tools, and plugins we actually use, plus everything else we know about automation and AI to help you save time, work smarter, and not be a slave to your business. The exciting news is that we've actually rolled this out to a select few people earlier this year, and I'm excited to see them well on the way to multiple six figures, with some breaking $30,000 to $50,000 per month already. So if you're interested to be a successful recruiter that can dominate in any market conditions, make sure you click on the link below to chat with another member of our team, and we're happy to chat with you to see if we can help you out. Make sure you jump on this really quickly. See you on the other side.
Like, hey, Preston, I'm reaching out because I have this role. I think it's a great opportunity and you'd be a good fit. Let me know if you're interested. You're all talking about yourself and not talking about the candidate. And we want to put ourselves in the candidate's shoes and talk to them and really make them feel like we're talking directly to them, focused on them, not focused on us. So in my mind, the first two big things that stand out are lack of personalization and you're talking about yourself, not the candidate.
Now, to take it kind of a step back, I think what they're trying to do in the first paragraph, it's a good way to start, right? So it's a nice greeting. I hope you're doing well. And you immediately went in saying, hey, I think like your profile could be a great fit, right? You're immediately connecting it to the candidate. But as Ryan was saying, like that's kind of where you start dropping the ball, right? You start talking and you start kind of being very, very salesy, but most importantly, not personalizing and being super, super generic. I do like the fact that like if I were to find any silver lining this, like your background stands out. You don't really mention why, as Ryan mentioned.
Hmm.
But the one thing that it really kind of drops, in my opinion, is like you don't really go into detail about the actual role, right? So like you have
Hmm.
a really good intro, I guess a good enough intro where like, hey, I think you have a great background. We have a good role for you. You could have done a lot more improvement to kind of be more specific and personalized here. But then this is the perfect opportunity to be like, okay, so what's the role? What's the company? What do they do? What's the scope? What's the title? What's the benefits? What's the culture? What's like this doesn't mention anything. And so I think when it comes to messaging, when it comes to emails, it's so easy to think like take, me. And it's really important whether you're on the candidate side or the client side in terms of outreach, you have to kind of shift your frame to go away from more of like a taking mindset to more of like a helping mindset, right? So with candidates, we're helping them be like, hey, if you have an open mind, this is a job that's perfect for you, but you got to help them make a decision. And the only way they can make a decision is by giving them more information. And you just kind of lack a lot of that in this email, right? And so the first paragraph, super generic, and immediately goes to the call to action saying, hey, let's talk. But you haven't really given anything for them to really truly get excited about, let alone making them feel like you did really kind of extensive research on their background and why you're reaching out to them in the first place. So this feels very generic, feels very cookie cutter. It doesn't really get them excited. Like if I was a candidate getting this email, that would not get me excited to respond.
Yeah, I agree. And going to your point about the lack of information on the role, I can tell you without a doubt in my mind, if you send this message out, you're going to get some replies, but all those replies are going to be, what's the company? What's the compensation? What's the title? All this stuff that people want to know before they decide to give you their time to hop on the phone.
Which is totally fine, but I'm also about being efficient, right? So I would rather give the candidate as much information as possible so that they can make an educated decision as fast as possible. And if they're interested, they're like, hey, let's schedule a call. Or they don't even like need to tell me, they just schedule a call on my calendar automatically, right? So if there is a way for me, a universe where I can kind of avoid going back and forth 5, 10, 20 times, that's just not the best use of anyone's time.
Hmm.
Be more efficient. The only way to do that is really understanding who the candidate is, what do they want, like what are some things that are really important that candidates are looking for in an outreach email for them to make an educated decision like, oh, I might have an open mind to want to hear this out more and then respond back to you, right? You're not asking them to make like a crazy life decision. Now it's like, hey, this is the info. We think you're a good fit. This is the role. This is the company. You want to chat, right? That's kind of like the thought process that you want to have when it comes to reaching out to candidates. Is there anything else that you want to add, Ryan, for this?
I'm all good. I think we covered it for this one.
Cool, cool. Let's move on to message number 2. Subject line: great opportunity for senior developers. Hello, first name. I want to reach out to you because I believe you're the perfect fit for a senior developer role that we're looking for to fill at XYZ. We have a lot of high-paying job opportunities available right now, and I'm sure this one could be for you. I can't wait to tell you more. Please let me know if you're interested. Honestly, I think this is kind of a step backwards from the first email, right? So it starts saying, I believe you're the perfect fit for this role, but you don't really explain why. And you don't really explain anything about their background, nothing about the role, no additional information about the companies. All you do is you follow up saying, we just have a lot of high paying job opportunities, hoping that that will like lure them to like respond to you. That may work for some people, but honestly, that's not going to work for everyone. And so it's very salesy, very generic, low personalization, and there's a lot of improvement here. What
Yeah.
additional thoughts do you have here, Ryan?
Firstly, I agree with everything you said right there. And kind of going back to the last one we looked at too, this is all I. Like I see the word I'm, we so many times. I wanted to reach out. We have paying jobs. I can't wait to tell you more, where you got to think you want to talk about them, not talk about us. And secondly, one thing I don't like is the last line here that I'm sure this one could be great for you. It's almost like telling them that this is the right role for you. When I reach out, I like to take the approach of, here's an opportunity I have that I think is a great fit for, could be a great fit for you for all these reasons. I don't like to say, hey, Preston, this role is perfect for you. Look at it, and just kind of force that decision on them. And so I think there's a world in which someone could read this message and be like, wait a minute, like I'm the one to decide what's the right role for me. So I think that could also rub some people the wrong way.
We're not here to force the candidates to decide. You have to give them all the information to help them decide. There's a huge difference, right? And I think like as recruiters, because it's our job to outreach the clients or candidates every single day, we sometimes forget like we're actually reaching out to other human beings. So try to have more empathy, try to put yourself in their situation. Most of the people you're reaching out to, especially if you're reaching out to passive candidates, they're fully employed and happily employed, right? Most of them will have an open mind to hear about a role, most likely about a company they've never heard of. So it's our job to do the heavy lifting in these messages, to give them all the information they need to just create intrigue, to create a hook for them to be like, oh, I might want to talk to Preston. I might want to talk to Ryan over a chat, right? But again, you have to put an effort here, and coming off shallow, coming off salesy, not making any effort to extract or provide more information about the role, the company, why you genuinely, honestly think the person's background could be a good fit. If you're missing a combination of these, it's just not going to have strong legs to really resonate with a lot of candidates out there. And that's super, super important, right? Again, I'm not saying like messages like these won't work at all, but I hope that, our perspectives and our opinions here can help you craft your messages that you're doing now and kind of improve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I wanted to touch on here that we haven't addressed thus far is the call to action. At the end, it says, please let me know if you're interested. That is a super weak call to action because you could get people reply like, yes, I'm interested, sure, maybe, cool. And then you got to keep working on them to get them on the call, right? And going back to your earlier point, Preston, about efficiency, what's the most efficient thing we can do for a call to action? We can either provide a calendar link for them to book right on our schedule, or we could say, hey, does XYZ day and time work for you? If you just leave it open-ended, like, let me know, it just leaves them so much opportunity and so much room to just brush you off. So I think that's one thing in my mind for this one as well, is have a stronger call to action. Either suggest a time, suggest a day, or include a link where they can just click on their book on your calendar and make it just a more speedy process.
That's such a great point, Ryan. Having call to action is everything because yes, you want to make sure your messages don't come off generic. You want to show that you did your research. You want to show that it makes sense for them. You want to give them all the information. But if you don't have a call to action, your messages and your response rate can plummet because if you're not controlling the end of the conversation, as Ryan would say, like you're just leaving it open-ended and it could just lead to a lot of inefficiency. It can lead to like you now having a whole conversation with them back and forth 100 times, which is not the best use of anyone's time. Or maybe they might respond, you might respond back, and you kind of lost them. You lost that momentum that you created with that message. So whatever effort you're putting in, you got to have a call to action. My biggest tip here is have a call to action. And whether it's a Calendly link or whether you're asking them for a time or you providing a time, try to condense that time frame as much as possible. You don't want to schedule a call a week or two out. You want to schedule a call maybe the same day or tomorrow or the next day at max, right? So that it keeps the conversation fresh, it keeps it tight. If you talk to them, you can talk to them sooner than later. And if they're good, you can submit them sooner than later. And then you can have an interview sooner than later, right? So interviewing and recruiting is all about speed. If you're reaching out to candidates and you reach out to the perfect candidate, they're excited, but you're going through back and forth like a million times and you can't get them on the phone for a month or two, like you probably just lost a great opportunity to submit them to your client, right? So you want to be able to kind of create that momentum and capture it and make use of it and execute with it as fast as you can. All right, last message. So message number 3, you are a perfect fit for this position. Let's talk. Cool. Now I'm kind of thinking like the candidate, like why am I the perfect fit? So hi, first name. I'm working on an awesome opportunity with a client who is looking for someone with a technical background like yours. They need someone who has experience in leading cross-functional teams, managing projects, and is a strong communicator. The role is in a rapidly growing industry with excellent growth potential. The compensation package is $200K plus benefits. Please let me know if you'd like to learn more. I look forward to hearing from you soon. So I'm working for an awesome opportunity. That's great. You don't really tell me anything about the opportunity. Like, who is the opportunity? What is the opportunity? To me, like, that's the glaring first mistake. And secondly, they need someone who has experience in leading cross-functional teams, managing projects. How are you tying that into my or the candidate's background? Like, it doesn't really show that, like, you've done your research. You don't really show, like, oh, they're looking for this, and judging from what I see on your resume, your LinkedIn profile, we can see that you're a perfect fit. Like, you're just kind of sharing with me general criteria the company's looking for. What if the candidate you're reaching out to isn't a good fit? You're turning them off, right? So you're dropping the ball on the company. You're dropping the ball on personalization already. Just not a good start, Ryan. What are your other thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree. I think another thing that sticks out to me is this mention of the compensation package. And I will say on the one hand, that is some kind of information about the role. So that is a good thing. But I think in this situation where only thing they mentioned about the role is the salary, I think that's another aspect of this message message that could, again, rub people the wrong way. Because while salary and compensation, of course, is super important for any role, if you just say, hey, I have a role, high paying, are you interested? Some people might be like, whoa, 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 like money's important, but it's not everything, right? And it's also important to know, like you said, what's the team culture? What's the location? What kind of projects are we working on? Who's the leadership? Things like that. And so I don't think it's necessarily always a bad thing to have just putting in the compensation there. But at the same time, including just compensation information with nothing else can make it seem like you're just overly transactional, just focused on the money, almost trying to like hook and bait them in.
And while people would respond to this message, I can't guarantee that high quality candidates or the candidates that would be like a great match would respond to this. You know what I mean? I think anyone saying like 200K, wow, like, you're going to get people really, really excited and you're really focusing just on that alone. But without more information about the title, the scope, and anything else, like with the company, why you're reaching out to them, you're not really giving the opportunity for the right candidate to respond and be like, oh, you know what, this actually can be a good fit for my background. This makes sense. It's just very, very, again, just very, very weak here. I think mentioning compensation is a good practice for sure. But overall, when it comes to these messages, guys, like Ryan was referencing briefly earlier, you got to kind of think about what are some of the most important things candidates want to hear, right, in a message. So compensation, definitely one of them. So at least it kind of mentions that. Plus benefits, maybe perhaps like you can extrapolate on the benefits if it's truly unique or they have a really great unique X factor. But benefits, compensation aside, I think anything else that you can mention about the company that would be an X factor, right? Like notable VCs or notable founders or founders' backgrounds. Are they second or third time founders? Anything about an X factor of the company, what they actually do and how that could relate. So if the company is in finance or crypto, and then the candidate has an amazing crypto background, right? Like that immediately on that level connects. What about culture? What about environment? What about like title? What about scope? So a lot of these things are just not in this email. The only thing I see is 200K, right? Plus benefits, and benefits is very generic. It's very vague. It can mean a lot of things, hybrid, flexible. So like you want to definitely make sure that you include a lot of these things, plus tying it into their background, plus obviously giving a really good call to action, and of course making sure you give enough information about the role in the company to them. Now, I do want to say, like we keep saying on multiple of these examples, you want to share like examples or more examples about the role in the company. You don't need to go into so much detail. Like the messages shouldn't be super, super long, okay? The whole idea here is not to send an essay or a novel to the candidate, is you want to basically give a high level summary that's like tailored to the candidates, enough information for them just to have an open mind to want to chat with you. Your job isn't to close the candidate on the message. Your job really is to get a face-to-face meeting or a call. That is your primary objective for any emails or messages. And so they need to be not too long, but not too short, where they have just enough of the information for them to just have an open mind to want to chat with you. And it's during those calls where you can actually really qualify them, really go into the job in detail so that they fully understand and align with you. And then you can pitch them. And if you do get their thumbs up and consent, you can officially submit them, right? I think a lot of people try to overthink messaging and emails and try to put the whole qualification call in an email or in an outreach. And while that could work, for me, I like to move fast. I like to kind of make the messages and outreach very intentional, very short to the point, and very personalized. Get them on the call, build that relationship, qualify them, get to know them more, and then submit, right? So I think like take what we're saying, but don't take it literally, and just don't write a trilogy, a massive long email to candidates.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in that same sense of brevity, like you said, LinkedIn has a built-in like word limit, character limit for these email messages. So you only have so much room to really give your spiel. And so you really want to make it impactful within the space that you're provided. And so it's kind of like walking this fine line between giving them enough information so that it's relevant, that it's personalized to catch their interest, but at the same time, you're not writing a trilogy, right? So you really try to kind of balance out the amount of personalized, tailored information you give without making it too lengthy. And I think that concept is even more distilled in the subject line. Like you have, I don't know, was it 100, 200 characters, whatnot to put in that subject line. You got to make that quick. You got to catch their attention. But at the same time, you don't want to be too clickbaity. You don't want to be like 200K salary, remote, go, go, go. You want it to be something that'll catch their attention and that's honest to the role. But at the same time, something that's not just going to make you seem like spam and they'll kind of ignore your message.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, I hope a lot of you guys reading these messages resonated or maybe thought the same thing like we did. I hope that it really, really helps. And now just a great way to kind of conclude this video. We just want to be able to go over some of the qualities that we think a great message should have. So Ryan, what are some of the initial topics that come to mind when it comes to what you think a great message should have?
Yeah. Number one, absolutely is personalization. That's something that we've spoken about at every single message in this video so far is you don't want to make it seem like you're sending this message to 100 people, 1,000 people, a million people, what have you. You want the person who's reading this message to be like, wow, Preston took the time to research my background and really understand why I'm a good fit and why this could be a good position for me. So first things first, definitely focus on the personalization aspect of these messages.
The next thing, as you guys can see, is specificity, right? Include clear and relevant details about the job, such as role responsibilities, company culture, why the candidate is actually a good fit. You got to have a good combination of all these things. Don't go too heavy on one or the other. What's next, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. Next is just not being too salesy, having that right tone, because as the saying goes, people do business with the people they like. You don't want to give off the impression that I'm not here to help. I'm just here to make a placement fee, right? And so to really counteract that, you got to really have this mindset of writing professionally, but writing as if you're writing to a friend, right? You want to make it a message that you would be happy to respond to. So definitely avoid any kind of tone or language that might make it seem like, hey, I'm just trying to get a placement fee out of you. You want to really be there to help the person. And if you have that in your tone and have that mindset as you're going through the process, that'll help you succeed that much more.
The last couple things, as you guys can see, is obviously focus on the subject line, keep it relevant, intriguing, and personal. Don't make it too salesy, too generic, and too shallow or too clickbaity. You're reaching out to human beings, be human, have a kind of a personal element to it. I think that can certainly help. And again, don't make it long, keep it short. Last but not least, have a call to action. We cannot emphasize this enough. Keep it short, keep the time frame short, 1 to 3 days max. Don't schedule calls 2 weeks in advance or a week in advance. Like, keep it short, keep that momentum active and hot as much as possible. Any last thoughts, Ryan?
No, I think we covered it all. Personalize it, keep it very specific, have a good tone, have a strong call to action, come off genuine, and you'll be off into the sunset.
Perfect. Well, I hope that this video provides value and helps you all. If you guys have components of an email that you think works really well for you that we didn't mention here, please go ahead and comment below. We'd love to check it out and comment and respond back to you guys. If you want to see another video about LinkedIn messages for clients, please let us know as well. We'll do our best to kind of keep this series ongoing here just to help and give you as much value as possible. But really appreciate your time watching this. Again, really grateful to have Ryan on this call, who is one of the main coaches of the Recruiter School. And him and I are just doing what we can to help others just build out fantastic businesses. But more importantly, just educate and give value on our industry that we've just come to love. And it changed our lives, and hope we can do the same for you guys too. So Ryan, thank you so much again for being on the call. And
Thank you.
we'll see you guys on the next one.